Good evening. This is the Dolores County Broadcasting Network. And as I do every Monday, I give just a quick update on the New York Jets. Now, Thursday is the beginning of the NFL draft. The Jets, because of their stellar record of last year, meaning they're the third worst team in the NFL, they're picking third. Now, chances are, as they have done probably 7 out of 10 times in the last few years, they blow their picks. They draft some guy who really isn't up to playing in the NFL, and they've spent all this money and all this time, and then they get rid of him. So we'll see. Now, there's also a possibility the Jets are going to trade that pick, which would be a colossal error. But that's the Jets. So, news next week. We'll see what they do. And with that, the DCTV 4-H Evening News Program for Monday, April 22nd, 2019. Camera person is Cowboy Harrison. Video engineer, sound engineer, and producers Edward. Teleprompter and prompter is Dan. News anchors are Austin the Lion Green and Daniel Little Pink Dragon. And our meteorologist, who went to prom, is Hannah Faulkner. And this is your news director, Dan. And now the news.
Welcome to the DCTV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. Help us keep our news show on the air by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsorship by calling 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Hi, I'm Austin. Our first story is from the Durango Herald. Grass fire burns near Highway 172. A grass fire burned 25 to 30 acres Saturday afternoon near Highway 172 and County Road 222 in the Florida River Valley. Despite strong winds, the fire was fully contained before 5 p.m. All the firefighters plan to monitor the fire all night and return Sunday to mop up, said Battalion Chief Jeff Harris with the Durango Fire Protection District. Several hotspots remain in the cottonwoods and willows, he said. The fire was reported about 2:20 p.m. and had made substantial headway. By the time firefighters arrived, he said there was dense, heavy smoke blowing from south to north. He said the fire burned into areas with natural barriers that allowed it to be contained. He said it was bounded by the Florida River to the east, a flowing irrigation ditch to the west, and several roads. He said we had really good access all around the fire, he said. In addition to using the natural fire breaks, firefighters burned fuels in front of the fire to help control it. Deputy Chief Randy Black said 3 homes were threatened near the fire, and firefighters placed fire trucks near them for their protection. Black said the River Valley Estates subdivision where the fire was burning has fire hydrants, so firefighters were able to knock down flames that came near homes. He said no property was damaged in the fire. He said the cause of the fire is unknown, and determining the origin of the fire may be difficult because the wind blew it in several directions. He said despite the strong moisture the area has received, residents should still be conscious of the fire danger on windy days. This spring, he said, while some grass is greening up, dry grasses remain from last year. Certain trees such as oak also have not started to green up and do not have moisture in them. To slow the fire, Black said, residents should not set control burns on windy days or leave fires unattended. People shouldn't let their guards down. This is from the Journal, now with Daniel.
Montezuma commissioners put term limits on ballot. Oh shit. In November, voters will decide whether term limits for the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners should be extended from 2 terms to three terms. Currently, commissioners can serve 2 consecutive 4 terms and must be elected by vote for each term. After hearing public comment for 1 hour, the board voted 3-0 Tuesday to ask voters to give a 2-term commissioner the opportunity to seek election for the 3rd term. Whether there are term limits or not, an election is held at the end of each commissioner's 4-year term. The election is open to any candidate except for a commissioner who has reached the term limit. Commissioners made the same argument in November after supporting District Attorney Will Peirce's request for a 3rd term. Voters rejected the last request, question 7A, by vote 63 to 36% each. People stepped up to the microphone during the spirited term limit debate. Several residents said term limits were not needed because voters can remove candidates at the end of each term. Several others argued for term limits and against extending them, saying the limits promote the opportunity for a variety of candidates to gain elected positions. We need a pipeline of new young leaders, and said Mary Dodd. By extending term limits for 12 years, younger leaders may be shut down. Tom Seymour opposed term limits, saying that when voters elected Commissioner Jim Candelaria, they voted in a younger candidate with a lot of experience in a different class. Jim Carlson said term limits promote a more representative government by giving a small business owner or a teacher that may not necessarily have local generational history a chance to lead. Dexter Gill said there is no need for mandating term limits because voters have the opportunity to vote an elected official out of office every time his or her term is up. The ballot box is how term limits are established, and that is the way the system is intended, he said. Experienced people should be able to continue serving in office if they want to and are reelected. Commissioner Keenan Erdl was critical of imposing term limits in general and supported extending them to be consistent with other elected county positions. He gave an example of how term limits caused the departure of valued county assessor Mark Vanderpool in 2013. Vanderpool was instrumental in pursuing a complex property tax case against Kinder Morgan that the county eventually won in a decision by the Colorado Supreme Court. We were in the throes of the case, but because he was term limited out, we lost an experienced and successful assessor. Erdl said the loss was damaged and it was because of term limits. Sukla said extending from 2 terms to 3 terms is reasonable and allows terms for elected officials to build relationships and momentum to help move the county forward. We have gained a foothold on the decision-making, the state and national level on issues that impact the county, and that does not happen overnight, he said. Newly elected Commissioner Candelaria said extending the term limit to 3 is consistent with other elected offices and will be beneficial. Every 4 years there is an election. If you are doing a good job, you make it, and if not, you are replaced, he said. We are energetic and ambitious, and I believe we do have the pulse of the younger generation because of who we hang out with. The 2017 Montezuma County voters extended term limits for the sheriff, clerk, and assessor to 3 terms in an election shortly after voters turned down a proposal to extend term limits to the county commissioners. For county commission term limits in Colorado, 9 counties have 3 terms, 31 counties have 2 terms, and 24 counties have no term limits. Other term limits for Montezuma County officials are 3 4-term years for assessor, clerk, treasurer, and sheriff, 2 4-year terms for county commissioners, and 2 4-year terms for district attorney. Now for this story with the Journal with Lion.
Ideas for possible Cortez Area Convention Center expand. Continued discussions to build a convention and event center include a new idea of locating it at the old Walmart building in the Cortez Plaza. Cortez and Montezuma County officials have been meeting with local tourism and business groups to explore the concept of a convention center as a way to boost the economy. In March, county commissioners offered to build it at the Montezuma County Fairgrounds and pay for construction if the city of Cortez and other groups covered operational costs. Boosters envision a modern facility between 20,000 to 35,000 square foot building with the main meeting room capacity of 700 to 1,500 people. There would be additional breakout meeting rooms, a commercial kitchen, indoor and outdoor eating areas, landscape grounds, lots of parking, and an outdoor amphitheater. Cost estimated between $4 million and $7 million. Ryan Malley, manager of the Cortez Plaza, suggested renovating the old Walmart building into a convention center. The 66,000 square foot building has been vacant for years, and a decade of efforts to attract big box store tenants have not been successful. Recently, a local church's plan to move in fell through. It is an alternative option to consider for a convention center. Malley said it has 400 parking places, fiber optics room to expand, and is central to local hotels. County commissioners said they are open to all ideas and potential locations, but indicated that if the convention center was located in the city limits, their offer of covering the majority of construction costs would be not as generous. That would impact our contribution. It needs to be equitable, said Commissioner Larry Don Sukla. The County Planning Department plans to put out requests for proposals for the project. Grants will sought to help pay for initial feasibility and business plans. An informal 5-question survey on the convention center idea generated about 529 most positive responses, said Brian Bartlett, manager of the Bayment Inn. Hotel guests and attendees at the Home and Garden Show were questions about the possible benefits of the convention center, the events and food at the center, and whether they would support increasing the lodger's tax to help fund the center. Survey responders put concerns and gun and knife shows at the top of their list. As to the benefits, 420 respondents said there would be a benefit to the community, and 18 said that there would not be. On increasing the lodger's tax, 405 were okay with it and 61 were not. American food should be served, said 308 respondents. Navajo tacos were a close second. Most comprehensive surveys are needed to reach the wider community and gauge support, officials said. Tourism officials noted organizers of large conventions have expressed an interest in Cortez, but they were turned away because of lack of adequate space. The center would generate officials, and training in hospitality services could be provided by Pueblo Community College. Careful planning is critical, said Cortez Mayor Karen Sheik, and there is much information and needs to be gathered before the decision is feasibility studies with the consultants who specialize in convention centers are needed to further analyze the proposal. We don't want to put the cart before the horse, she said. This story is from the Denver Post. Now with Daniel.
Sri Lanka bombings timeline: how explosions wrought devastation on Easter Sunday across Sri Lanka on Sunday morning. Travelers and worshippers settled in at tables for breakfast and into pews at churches on the country's east and west coasts. Then the explosions began between 8:45 and 9:30 a.m. on Sunday in 3 separate cities. Suicide bombers at 3 luxury hotels and 3 Christian churches detonated explosive devices. 5 hours later, 2 more explosions were reported near the capital city of Colombo, an inn and a residential housing complex. More than 200 died in the attacks, and many as 450 more were injured, turning one of Christianity's holiest days, Easter, into one of mass carnage. Sanctuaries were hit by shrapnel and left without roofs. Photos showing blood-splattered walls, splintered wood, pews, and bodies. This is how the day unfolded. 8:45 to 9:30 a.m. inside St. Anthony's Shrine, a tourist landmark in Colombo with the largest Roman Catholic congregation in Sri Lanka's capital. Dozens gathered Sunday morning to celebrate Easter. Just before 9 a.m., there was an explosion so violent that witnesses said nearby buildings shook, promoting the first news reports on what would become a day of coordinated attacks. Saman Pala, a shopkeeper near the church, ran inside to help and found a river of blood. He told the New York Times ash was falling like snow. He told the newspaper 25 miles north in the Catholic majority town of Negomobo, worshippers filled wooden pews in the golden-tinged sanctuary at St. Sebastian Church. A explosion tore through the room. There too blasted open the roof and shredded the seating. Shrapnel was embedded in the walls, and small statues of saints fell to the ground. Blood was everywhere. A bomb attack to our church, somebody posted to the church's Facebook page in the moments after the blast, attaching gruesome photos that showed mangled bodies and bewildered witnesses. People come and help if your family members are there. The blast in Negobo killed more than 100 people and injured just as many. Just after 10 a.m., the Associated Press reported the first two explosions, and shortly afterward followed with a devastating update. At about the same time, St. Anthony's and St. Sebastian's were being attacked. Explosions and had rocked 3 Colombo hotels and church on Sri Lanka's east coast. The explosions, officials said, appeared to be coordinated, and the Colombo structures were hit hardest. The attackers targeted restaurants in the 4-star hotels where tourists were gathered for Easter breakfast at the Cinnamon Grand Hotel. A manager told Agence France Presse that a suicide bomber stood in line for the breakfast buffet before detonating the explosives attached to his body. The manager, who spoke to AFP on the condition of anonymity, the hotel's ground floor restaurant was packed with families. The blast set off utter chaos, the manager told AFP. Guests throughout the hotel heard and felt the explosion. Julian Emanuel, a doctor in the United Kingdom, told the BBC that the room he was staying in with his wife and children rocked. They evacuated and were ushered through the back door, where they saw the damage and passed the bodies. 2 explosions about 10 seconds apart gutted a second-floor restaurant at Shangri-La, blowing out the ceiling and windows and exposing wires. Witnesses said that all they could hear was screaming. Everyone just started to panic. It was total chaos. Kieran Aristanam, a professor at Imperial College London Business School who was staying in the hotel, told the BBC everything was running and a lot of people just don't know what was going on. People had blood on their shirt, and there was someone carrying a girl to the ambulance. The walls and floors were covered in blood. Authorities moved between overturned tables to inspect the bodies strewn there. Some of them were tucked beneath white sheets, reported ABC Australia. A third hotel, the Kingsbury, was attacked about the same time across the country in Batticaloa. Evangelical worshippers at Zion Church became the coordinated attack. Only East Coast victims. A witness told the BBC that he heard a big bang while cycling in the city and saw smoke billowing into the sky after half a mile away. The initial chaos of the 6 blasts made way for swift accommodations from world leaders and a near shutdown of the country. Officials called in all available law enforcement and health care workers in the affected cities. University classes were canceled indefinitely, and the government told school children to stay home Monday and Tuesday. Extra security reported to Bandar Nike International Airport, and the government shut down access to social media. The Colombo District Catholic officials canceled all Easter masses, and Vatican City Pope Francis condemned such cruel violence on Sunday afternoon hours after the 6 coordinated blast. Government officials announced that a curfew would be implemented at 6 p.m., but authorities implemented it earlier than that, about 2 p.m., 5 hours after the initial 6 explosions. Another blast was reported at the low-budget Tropical Inn near the National Zoo in Dihilawala, south of Colombo. A witness told a local TV station that he saw several limbs there, according to reporting from Reuters and ABC Australia. Another witness told CNN that he heard the explosion and saw helicopters flying overhead. About 2:45 p.m., authorities received a tip that potential suspects were inside a safe house at a residential complex in Damatagola on the outskirts of Colombo. Shortly after the officers entered the home, an eighth blast went off, reported the AP. Several officers were killed. After the last 2 explosions, authorities instituted the curfew early. Residents retreated inside, and tourists were focused to stay where they were, even if they wanted to leave the island. There's nothing, no vehicles, no people walking, nothing. Simpson Whitmarsh, a retired doctor on vacation in Madacola, told the BBC, "Stay indoors is the message." Now for Dumbos with Hannah.
Our dumb laws segment are actual laws still in the books in many states, cities, and municipalities. This means that these laws are still technically legal. Dumb laws in Washington. The harassing of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or any other undiscovered subspecies is a felony punishable by and/or a fine or imprisonment. It is illegal to attach vending machines to a utility pole without prior consent from the utility company. No person may walk about in public if he or she has a common cold. Destroying a beer cask or bottle of another is illegal. It is illegal to entice girls away from the Maple Lane School for Girls. X-rays may not be used to fit shoes. One may not spit on the bus. When 2 trains come to a crossing, neither shall go until the other has passed. You cannot buy meat of any kind on Sunday. All lollipops are banned. A law to reduce crime states it is mandatory for a motorist with criminal intentions to stop at the city limits and telephone the chief of police as he is entering the town. It is illegal to paint polka dots on the American flag. Now for the weather report. Our current weather data comes from the DTG weather station located in the beautiful downtown Duff Creek. The current temperature is 53 degrees. The high for today was 74 degrees. The low is 36 degrees. The barometer is at 29.82 inches and is steady. Humidity is at 51%. Wind is between 1 and 7 miles per hour from the northwest. Gusts have been up to 27 miles per hour. There were 2/100 of an inch of moisture today in DTG weather station. Moisture for the month is 12/100 of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 5.5 inches, hundredths of an inch. Now for the big map, courtesy of the National Weather Service. To most of Wyoming and parts of Colorado. Rain and thunderstorms stretch from northern Arizona to the Great Lakes. Severe thunderstorms in northern Texas. There is rain and thunderstorms in the northern area of the East Coast. Here is our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Thursday, thunderstorms, high 59, low 39. Tuesday. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 69, low 43. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 74, low 46. Friday, partly cloudy, high 75, low 45. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 73, low 44. Now we present you with a snow total report, which is the amount of snowpack in the mountains across the state. We hope it will be helpful for our farmers and our skiers. Statewide, snowpack is at 113% of normal. Here in the Southwest, we only have 159% of normal. to the numbers on the map. Oh. Now for the climate change report. CO2 carbon dioxide is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. This results in significant variation worldwide of moisture and hot and cold temperatures, but the general climate trend of the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 weekly change. The following are the CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week, 413.13, 2 weeks ago, 412.21, last year, 409.46, 10 years ago, 389.50, 50 years ago, 326.66. Thank you, Dr. Peter Tans of National Oceanographic Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help Kip Burke his new show on air by buying a sponsorship. To buy a sponsorship, yes, call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to your news director.
That is the end of today's DCTV 4-H Evening News Show. This is your news director, Dan, saying good night and thank you for watching.